Hello? Oh, okay. It's working. Good morning, everybody. We are about to start, even though quite a number of our guests are not here yet, but we've got to watch the time. My name is Ntibi Mayepa. I am the Deputy Registrar, Governance and Legal Services. Before we begin, I would like to extend a special welcome to you all, and in particular to recognize our member of council who's here with us today, Mr. Gowden, as well as Mr. Pepe. I'm also honored to welcome Prince Banzi Chali of the Imingangatelo Traditional Council, Mr. Pumezo Lupuwana, Dr. Nyoni and Mr. Makubalo from the South African Council of Churches, Councillor Tozama Ngaye, Speaker of the Raymond Matlaba Municipality, and Councillors Unati Tume and Lukolo Ngala. And coming home to the people who made sure that this happened and supported our Chief Internal Auditor, Mr. Nkanyane, in bringing this to fruition, I welcome our Vice Chancellor, Prof. Sakela Buhlungu, and the rest of the Management Executive Team Committee. I wish to also recognize all members of our governance structures here today, including faculty deans, the senior management, the SRC, and of course, UFH staff and students, the eyes on the ground, on whom we rely to be the vanguard of our decade of renewal. The launch of this initiative is an important step in the fight to protect the university and its community. It is for the community to rise up and protect itself from those who seek to gain at the expense of its destruction. I have been asked to guide this event, I guess in my capacity as the office responsible for legal compliance. While it is within the ambit of the Office of Governance and Legal to monitor and enforce compliance, it is not for our office to actually go out there and look for it. And it is in recognition of that fact that the university is calling upon its community to join the fight against corruption. I would now like to call upon Mr. Nkanyane, who is the Chief Internal Auditor for the university and responsible for the event today. Harry.
Good morning. Thanks, Program Director. So that I don't miss anyone in welcoming, my job is very easy, is to welcome and talk about the purpose. I will say all protocols observed so that you don't miss anybody. So you are welcome to this event. This is a very big milestone for the university. It's around making sure that as part of the decade of renewal, we fight the scourge of corruption. We bring the university back to its former glory, as we have produced some of the best leaders in the world. We want to attract the best students from all over the world and believe that our qualification is something that they can use. So, Council, with the leadership of the chairperson and the VC, have come together with the management team to say we need to create a channel where everybody, internal stakeholders and outside stakeholders, can be able to report freely without any prejudice, without any fear of victimization. And that is the purpose of today, to come and say we are starting with that program of making sure that we restore the university back to its former glory. So what you are going to get today is the number and the different channels where you can report fraud and corruption. The importance of it is that in South Africa, there's only 6 accredited companies that provide these services. And through our procurement, we procured one, which that company operates in more than 40 countries in 6 continents. And they provide these services through 11 official languages in South Africa. And there are different platforms of where you can use to report. But what is also important that I just want to highlight is that we want to request everybody, including those who are with us through the online services, not to abuse the line, to use the line properly, to use the line ethically, because it's in the best interest. We should, when we are angry with other people, use the line to report them. It's not for that particular purposes. It's for the purposes when something goes wrong, we come out and said, here is the information, and it will allow the university, through its internal investigation unit, to conduct a pre-assessment to determine if what you have reported, it warrants further investigation. Based on that, the university will therefore, if it warrants further investigation, they will conduct further investigation. And you will be informed of the progress through the channel of the whistleblowing through this company. We do not need to know you as a university when you report. The company will know you, but we will never know you. What we are more interested is the information that anybody is having. And we are requesting all officials to come forward and report any wrongdoing. That will assist us. So that is the main purpose of here. And I want to say also, thank you very much to the VC and the MEC for supporting us, and also to council itself, which is represented by 2 members here, who one of them will be our main speaker, for the support in the fight of scourge of corruption, which have eroded the value of the universities and the resources. We'll also want to say thank you very much to the Raymond Mhlaba leadership for continuously supporting us as a university in making sure that we put the university and the stakeholders and the community forward in regard to the teaching, learning, and research, because that is what is our core as a university, is to provide those. The others are just extras that we need to provide. With that regard, I want to say to us, this is how we move forward as a university in making sure that we fight corruption. We are here to make sure that that happens, and in our lifetime, that will happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nkanyane. Due to circumstances beyond his control, the Vice-Chancellor could not be here today, but he will join us online. Is he ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Thanks, VC. You can go ahead.
Thank you so much. And once again, thanks to the program director, thanks to the organizers of this event. But before I do that, I just want to acknowledge people, starting with Dr. Goyana. Now, Dr. Goyana was supposed to be linking like myself, but she's currently load shared, so she'll link up after 11 o'clock and be part of the proceedings. But I would also like to greet other members of council, especially Mr. Gounden and Mr. Pepe, who are in the room, and Dr. Mpuana, chairperson of the Council of Fort Cox College, Dr. Nyoni, SACC, Mr. Makubalo, of course, Honorable Speaker Ngaye. Thanks very much. It's always a pleasure to have you at our events. Councillors Mume, Councillor Ngala. Councillor Ngala, of course, this is your constituency. Thanks very much. It's also a pleasure to greet you, because you were the first SRC president I encountered when I came in 2017. Thanks very much. And MEC members, all of them, some of them are not able to connect, some of them are in the room. Thank you very much. All members of the Extended Management Committee team, EMT, and that includes deans and directors and others, to the staff of the university, all of them, and in all sections and divisions, to the SRC, and to the rest of the students, and of course, other honored guests. Now, just talking about the launch of and activation of the hotline. I'm very pleased that we finally got to this point, Mr. Nkanyane. And again, I'll come back and talk about you. The very important milestone, the extremely important milestone, because as Mr. Nkanyane said earlier, it provides a platform that is safe and that provides for confidentiality for those who wish to report wrongdoing. And of course, this is part of the plan. It's part of the renewal of the university that we've embarked upon. And the renewal also means we need to, I'm sorry to use the term, but the cleaning up. We need to clean up the system. And that's part of that. So at the center, therefore, of the renewal project is ethical conduct and professionalism. And it's people who kind of stray from that, then they should be reported. And this is the platform. And it's also a platform that will empower people to report without feeling compromised, without their identity being revealed, and so that they can deal with these matters. Now, all organizations need some form or other of a hotline. But at Forte, it's particularly significant that when the independent assessors that were appointed by the minister in 2019 delivered their final report and recommendations, one of the areas they isolated and highlighted was that of fraud and corruption, that the university should do all it can to deal with those issues. Subsequent to that, Professor Nonga, administrator, then sat down with the MEC and crafted a turnaround plan. And at the center of that plan was a mandate to the VC to spearhead processes of fighting fraud and corruption. It was project number 7, specifically to the VC, and it's one of the things that I am assessed against, whether I am up to that task or not. The turnaround plan, of course, had other aspects and so on, but I just want to say that, and this is very, very important that I say this now, Mr. Nkanyane, in this context, even without a whistleblower program, that we've had instances of fraud in the university. Since 2018, we have prosecuted and processed internally no less than 50 staff members, One of the staff members who's now in police custody as a murder suspect is also being charged for corruption in the fleet department. That we know. It's in court now. But there are many others that are still pending. We've seen several exposés in the media, particularly the case of the person who had more than 50 companies, running more than 50 companies, scams and things like that. And so it's very important that we have taken that task seriously. I should also say that we have reported many, many cases to law enforcement authorities, to SAPS, to the Hawks. And of course, we worked and invited the SIU. And I should underline this. We invited the SIU to come in so that they could use the expertise, their resources to assist in this task. And we worked with them as they prepared to submit to the president a proclamation for signature, which was subsequently gazetted on the 1st of August 2022. So this is a task that we take seriously, and the whistleblower hotline, therefore, will assist in these processes. I need to just kind of, while I'm on this one, to make a very, very important distinction. We've borne the brunt of a relentless campaign of smears in the university from 2017 all the way down. Now, people dropping emails, sending them to the president, to the minister, to the newspapers, and so on and so forth. We've seen that. What this does now, it takes us away from that, because sending out smears without information, without evidence, is what has been happening. is what has been happening. Here's one example, which is a classic example, that the VC has a child with a current or former employee. Okay, I mean, you make that, and then you don't substantiate, you don't show the child, and so on and so forth. What the whistleblower hotline will do now, it will allow you to say the VC has a child with ex-employee, and that the whistleblower will then have to authenticate that there is a child, and then once they have authenticated that, then they will send it into the university system for investigation. That's how it works. So I think Ms. Kanyane was making a very important point, therefore, that the abuse that is done, but also the abuse of people by the smears will now have to be processed through this hotline. And the hotline, therefore, is a professional system that screens, that authenticates, and that therefore takes up cases, but also goes back. Now, this is very important. Goes back to the complainant to say, give evidence, give evidence. So if there's a child, bring the child, bring a picture, whatever the case. Okay. So that's very important. We also, hopefully this hotline also is going to help us move away from cases where a year or so ago, a senior member of staff engaged in cyber espionage by creating a remotely controlled super user account for purposes of, to use their term, exporting mailboxes from the UFH server. Now, you can see there that the intent is to take information, doctor the information, and send it out and smear kind of style. What this hotline is going to do now is going to allow that person to then send that information through so that it can be checked and so on. Program director, as I move towards closing, I need to say that the whistleblowing and whistleblower hotline is a professional activity. It's a professional activity with built-in mechanisms to provide safety and protection to the complainants. It requires that evidence be presented and that the person can always be contacted to substantiate or provide evidence where they are kept. And it also ensures that you have real people, not phantom people, not ghosts, kind of throwing things and not being able to account for the evidence. And it also means that the complainant, the whistleblower, has to take responsibility. Once you lodge that complaint, you must therefore take responsibility of providing the evidence so that then it can be investigated further, at least some leads towards the evidence. The program director, something of a coincidence happened this morning. I woke up to an email from a person. I don't know if the person is still a civil servant or not, but they're making an allegation and they're laying a complaint with me directly via email, open, with their full identity, about a person who is or was in the department where this person works. So thankfully, I'm going to write now, after this event, I'm going to write to that person. I'm going to say, okay, fine, you have this allegation about this person, put it through the hotline. That's all I'm going to do now. I'm not going to bother because he has not provided any evidence. He's just making allegations. I'm going to say, put it through the hotline. The machinery of the hotline is going to take care of it. They're going to investigate. They're going to find out all the things that are said in that complaint. And also, even though this person has revealed their name, the whistleblower will not reveal his identity, but they'll be able to go back and forth to him to find the evidence so that this matter can be pursued further. In closing, I just want to thank, first of all, my colleagues in MEC, members of council, especially, for being part of this and being part of this push, and for adopting all the policies and the procedures that are required to carry and to underpin this service. but also to thank specifically Internal Audit Department, especially Mr. Nkanyane. Mr. Nkanyane has worked tirelessly on this to get us to the point where we are now. And I'm sure that we're going to see results and that people will put their complaints through. So with those words, Program Director, I wish to welcome this event and also just to formally open the event and welcome everyone. I also wish to thank Mr. Gounden in advance. I know I'm known for thanking people in advance, which is not my place sometimes. To thank Mr. Gounden in advance for agreeing to give the keynote address this morning. Thank you very much, and thanks all for attending this event.
Our next speaker is the SRC President, Ms. Sipogazi Mbalo. Ms. President, without preempting your remarks, and understanding that the program hasn't really been rolled out, I'm really interested to hear the students' take on this whistleblowing program. Please come through.
Greetings, everyone, respectively. I'm using this term because I don't want to offend anyone by missing a protocol, so please allow me to greet you all respectively. Uti Mahatma Gandhi, be the change that you want to see in the world. So the step that the university is taking, we are showing the world the change that we want to see, and we are taking the initiative of showing them what we want to see the world to be. I heard them saying that it takes one step to reach 1,000 miles. So I think this is a step to the right direction. As the student, we feel like this program will assist the university to eradicate corruption. It will assist to help the university to not be crippled anymore, because we find ourselves being in a situation where the university cannot do the programs that are supposed to be done for us. We found ourselves being in a position where the university doesn't have funds to assist us in certain programs as students, because there are people who are benefiting directly or indirectly from the funds that are not meant for them. So we are in support for this, and as Mr. Nkanyane has said, please, we are pleading with anyone, please do not abuse the platform. Do not use that platform to settle your beefs or your scores. Otherwise, we're in support of this. We hope that it will benefit everyone. We hope that it will assist even the future leaders that will lead the country, so that we don't have future presidents or future ministers who will be corrupt because they would have learned from the University of Forte that corruption is a no-go zone. Thank you so much.
And now, it gives me great pleasure to call our keynote speaker, our council member, Mr. Sadi Gounden.
Good morning to all of you, and to the dignitaries. Just like the SRC president said, all protocols observed as well. It gives me great pleasure to stand here to deliver the speech on the relaunch of the whistleblowing hotline at the University of Forte. As a member of council, I'm honored to be given this opportunity to address you on this very important matter. The relaunch of the hotline is a response to recent cases of ethical breaches and abuses of power within the university. Such cases have eroded the public trust in the university and the potential of negatively impacting the university's academic reputation as well. So as you have already known, whistleblowing is an act of raising concerns or reporting misconducts or malpractices in an organization. This act is essentially in ensuring the transparency, accountability, and integrity in all areas of the university's operations. It is also a fundamental way to protect the rights of the interests of the students, staff, and the wider university community. So the purpose of this speech is to highlight the importance of whistleblowing in our university environment and to encourage all members of staff, students, and the general public to actively engage in this process. To do so, I will use this whistleblowing framework that outlines various pillars that are key to implementing and sustaining a successful whistleblowing program. The first pillar is protection. So whistleblowers need to be protected from retaliation, victimization, discrimination of having raised a concern. We, as members of the university's community, must ensure that any whistleblower who reports malpractice or misconduct does not suffer any undue consequences. The university has a zero tolerance policy towards any form of retaliation against whistleblowers, and as such, action will be dealt with severely. The second pillar is anonymity. So whistleblowers should be able to raise concerns without fear of being identified. So anonymous reporting mechanisms have been provided, and we urge every one of you to use them effectively. The university has put in place reporting channels that guarantee the confidentiality of the whistleblower, and we encourage you to use them to report any form of misconduct or malpractice. The third pillar is support. So whistleblowers need to be supported before, during, and after the process of whistleblowing. The university has a duty of care towards whistleblowers, and we are committed to providing the necessary support to all those who raise concerns. The support may include access to counseling, legal, and other forms of support as appropriate. The fourth pillar is training. All members of the university community should be trained on whistleblowing, and the awareness campaign has started already. We must understand the procedure and processes that underpin whistleblowing, and this will enable us to raise concerns in the appropriate manner. The university has put in place training programs to ensure that all members of the university community are conversant with the whistleblowing process. The fifth and final pillar is openness. The university must be open and transparent in dealing with concerns raised through whistleblowing. We need to demonstrate that we take these concerns very seriously, and appropriate action will be taken. The university has established a whistleblowing committee that has been mandated to investigate and act in all raised concerns. We urge you to come forward with any concern that you may have, and we promise that they will be taken very seriously. In conclusion, the University of Fort Hare recognizes the significance of whistleblowing in promoting transparency, accountability, and integrity. The relaunch of the whistleblowing is a clear indication of our commitment to a safe, ethical, and transparent environment for all members of the university community. We urge everyone to embrace the whistleblowing framework to to actively engage in whistleblowing to ensure that we achieve the highest standards of performance to safeguarding the university's reputation. It is essential that we support whistleblowers, ensure that they feel safe and secure, and that their concerns are taken very seriously. Let us all be vigilant and work together in creating a safe and just community at the University of Fort Hare. Thank you.
Now we've come to the part where we unveil the number, the whistleblowing blower number. And I would like to ask our other council member, Mr. Pepe, to come through, and our MEC member, Prof. Vital, to come through. Mr. Nkanyan?
So if you look at the number, that is easy and we will never forget it. It's 0800 UFH. So you don't need to worry about memorizing those numbers. If you look at your phone, it's 0800 UFH. So two is that there are different platforms of reporting. You can see there is a WhatsApp number, there is an SMS number, there is you can also go to their website. The name of the company is Whistleblowing. They also created a dedicated email, which is UFH at Whistleblowing. They will never give us any information no matter you send the email. They will only give us what you are reporting about. They will never tell us who's the person that they have reported. So this is what the different reporting channels that we are going to see. And that's what is going to happen. If there is any question, we are available to answer those questions and make sure that we create a conducive and peaceful environment in terms of that nobody worries about what will happen to them when they report. Thanks very much.
So, yeah, so those are the numbers and other contact details. Mr. Nkanyan, I'm going to put you on the spot a bit here. I'm actually going to allow our guests to ask any questions that they have on the program, what whistleblowing is, and so on. So if anyone has any question, please raise it and let's see if we can answer. Ms. President, and then yourself.
For me, it's just that I thought that take us, he already done that to us as the members of the council. But I thought that he would do also that in the gathering to highlight and give the outline of the procedure or the process, but how is it going to be done?
Okay.
So that everyone is clear that maybe who reports who, where, and how, and what is the actual process that is going to take place.
Okay.
Okay. Let me say I report someone who I think that is involved in corruption. What will happen after is he or she going to be investigated firstly, or they will take my assumptions.
Okay, I think that was addressed a bit, but Mr. Nkanyane, what is the procedure once reporting happens? And is there an initial investigation, or they just take whatever people say and move with it?
Okay, so the first one, what we are planning to do is that today was more of a launch. We, as Mr. Gounden have provided, we are going to have a program of workshops We are planning to do a number of workshops through the online so that it allows, particularly from the student point of view, to attend. And two is that those training program will be recorded and will be made available through the website. So at a later time, somebody can go in and be able to go through at their own time. So that is one of the issues. Indeed, we'll address those issues where, for example, when you report what happens through that particular process. But to go specifically to the second question, is that when you report, the first thing, the company itself will ask you a number of questions, so that it's not a one question. They need to make sure that they collect sufficient information before the call is dropped. If it's through an email, there may be a number of engagement. And they will pass the information to us depending on the level that you are reporting against. For argument's sake, you are reporting against a member of council. It will go to the chairperson of council. If you are reporting also, let me say, against the VC, again, it will go to a member of chairperson of council. If it's below, so the officials below, it will go to the VC, it will also go to the director investigation. And what will happen, we'll first do a pre-assessment. A pre-assessment is to look at the evidence that have been submitted to determine if there is a need for further investigation. And then after that pre-assessment is completed, there is, if I remember very well, we said it must be done within 30 days. And then a report will be submitted to the relevant structure depending on the people that are affected. If it's member of the executive, like the visit will go to council, and then depending on what the pre-assessment is saying, if it's saying there must be further investigation, and then council, for example, will say, okay, we appoint a particular company or we gave a responsibility to a particular person to conduct the investigation. In the same format, if it's below staff, the VC with the director investigation will determine, based on the resources that are available, to determine what type of investigation we're going to do. In addition to that, if we do not have sufficient resources internally, we do have a panel of audit firms who are capable of investigating. So they will do that investigation. When the investigation is finalized, depending on the outcome of that particular investigation, they will want, no matter it's positive or negative, they will go back, we will go back to whistleblower to inform them about the outcome of the investigation. If indeed the investigation showed that there is wrongdoing, therefore disciplinary action, if it's internal staff, will take place also if it's students. If it involves an outside person, and it's a criminal, the case will be open with the police. While we deal with our own staff in terms of disciplinary, also going to the police and making sure that a criminal case is open in that particular regard. Until the process is finalized, we will always try to go back to the whistleblower to inform them about the progress of that particular investigation, including if there is more information that is needed. As I said, there will be a lot of workshop. Just today is the starting point of the launching, so we can always continue to engage. Thanks.
I think you should stay, just in case we've got more questions. Any further questions?
And the court proceedings, how are you going to make sure that the whistleblower is protected? The protection of the whistleblower, yes.
Okay, so once it's now, maybe goes to court.
Yes.
Okay. So one is that, let me say we have investigated and it goes to court. Remember, there is the link between us and you through the whistleblower. We will go back and inform you that we are reporting the matter to the police. And the police also themselves have an obligation as a part of their responsibility to make sure that they protect you. You will know, for example, when cases go to court, they will say so-and-so as a witness have been put under protection unit. Well, it's not within the university. Let me say it goes to court because court is a different structure. But from the university point of view, we'll make sure that we support you and we provide you with the support, because without you, that particular information will have not come forward. So the university will support you and also engage the police in making sure that your identity does not come out, So that is the responsibility. And which now, when it goes to court, and which in most of the time, that is the time that most of the whistleblower come out, it is where the prosecutor will need, depending on the case itself, to inform the presiding officer to say, look, we have this witness. We don't want them, for example, to be a witness in a public platform. Can we do it in camera? Which the court in most cases have done. But it's a space that is a little bit limited. It's mostly controlled by the prosecutor and the police. But we will do our best as a university to make sure that we provide the support and guidance in that particular space. Thanks.
And just to follow up on that, Ms. Nkanyan, so the whistleblower company, are they obliged to give the name to the police, or will the investigation, when it's being done, reveal the witnesses? Do we necessarily have to go back to the whistleblower?
Okay. Look, according to them, with their agreement, they are not obligated. But you will know that in terms of court, if the court want that person, sooner or later the person will need to come out. Because why? If you do not come out as a witness, the case is likely to collapse. So we'll have lost the value of that money and resources that we'll have spent in the investigation when at the end of the day you do not come out at the end of the day. But it's the responsibility of the courts to protect at that particular space, which they have done in other cases that have happened. But if the witness, the evidence, because the evidence must be tested in court, you are likely to be invited to the court of law to support the evidence that is there. Thanks. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Gandon? Yeah.
In most cases, when you are a whistleblower, it goes into the investigation, and your name is not disclosed in the investigation report. So you are protected in that respect. It's only when you are a witness, if it does go to court, that's the only time that you will be called to court. So in most cases, you won't be called to court because your investigation report will exclude your name.
So in other words, the investigation will uncover its own witnesses. If you happen to be one of the witnesses, you are there as a witness, not as a whistleblower. So it is not known that you, the whistleblower, but the investigation will have uncovered you as a witness. Did I just confuse things? Okay, shall I go to you and then back to you?
And then there's a gentleman at the back also.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Number 3. Sorry. Social Chancellor.
Thank you, Chair. Take that one as a joke. I'm not going to report anyone. The issue of protection of a whistleblower, I'm sure we can all see now. That's the most important part, the protection of a whistleblower. It's either we go vociferously on campaigns. I am not confident where I am that I will be protected. So you need to go more on campaigns on that one. It's confidentiality, it's guaranteed, protection is guaranteed, but at some point, somebody else would know. So we need to take more campaigns seriously on that one. It may just be a comment, but I'm sure we can all see everybody is talking about protection of a whistleblower, protection of a whistleblower. It's not only at Forte, but it's all over the world, protection of a whistleblower. Secondly, now, we have heard this before. It was called, Pradumsa, what was it called? It was called Hotline, kind of a thing. It never stayed too long. It just disappeared. We don't know why it disappeared. Please make sure this time, I understand now it's independently ran, or it's independently run. Please make sure that we are not going, when we report Bradums, I'm just making an example about Mr. Pepe. If we report Mr. Pepe as a member of council, it should not disappear. The line is now deactivated because we are reporting Mr. Pepe. You see, that's. I'm not saying then it disappeared simply because a person who was getting reported all the time is a person who was one of the senior officials. I'm not saying that, but it should not disappear simply because we are reporting Mr. Pepe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Program Director. Like, I want to check, Program Director, what mechanisms or systems that are in place to deal with those that are going to abuse the system? Whether you're talking about those that are going to persecute people because they are in charge of the system, or whether you're talking about those who are going to report and give false information about myself to you. I want to check what kind of systems that are in place to deal with such people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My question is very simple because I see the lines that are being used to report